Some of the AI cars are on an easy difficulty level at the moment. You can see the driver tags above them. This is something you commonly see in multiplayer games with human opponents. But we're toying with the idea of actually using it in single player environments now so that you can see who your immediate rivals are on the racetrack. So if you're coming around to lap a few people, you're coming up on a bunch of cars, you'll be able to identify the ones that you are actually competing against, the ones that are more than likely to block you, the ones that you're going to have to challenge out on the circuit, and see which cars are meant to be letting you past. If I turn some of these things down now, turn the dynamic racing line off. Okay, so I think commonly people have been saying that the game in its most beautiful state is after it's been raining. So this is the heaviest rain conditions, really challenging. As the track starts to dry out, the clouds change. You can see the sun come out. It tries to dry the circuit around. I brake down here, get this place over Fernando. It affects the performance of the car as well, right down to such detail as it changes the engine temperature as well. It changes your visibility naturally, as you can't see cars in front of you. They haven't got brake lights in Formula 1, they've just got safety lights, so they're just a blinking red light in front of you. Different camera views, obviously. The hardcore normally like the cockpit view. I think that's been quite common for people using the steering wheel. You've got the different tyre compounds which interact with the wet weather track completely differently as well. Throw off about 80 litres of water, wet weather tyres. So you can drive around in the slicks. Maybe you're trying to get the jump on people, you think it's going to be a temporary downpour. It's a real challenge to try and predict what's going on with the weather. You've got a race engineer that feeds you critical information as well. So for example, if you think it might be starting to rain, he's got the actual radar back at the on the pit wall. He can feed you live information in terms of, I think it's going to be a brief downpour, you shouldn't come in for tyres, but ultimately you're the driver, you're the one that's responsible for all these things, so you can overrule him, come in and change tyres as you see fit. All this is possible in multiplayer as well, so whilst it's been quite a challenge for the development team, they succeeded in getting this running with 24 cars, any circuit. Dynamic weather system is also used in multiplayer games. It really mixes up the game so that in many a racing game they use A to B, point races, these kind of things. There are some restrictions with the license, but it means we're able to take our feed from what happens in real life. So many races have been turned on their head with a wet weather system that it was only right that we start to include that in our own take on Formula 1. Now we're going to switch into a replay mode now as I cross the line. Each of the teams have objectives, so they understand where they stand in the grand scheme of things. If you're driving for the likes of Ferrari, they'll expect you to be, qualifying on pole perhaps, certainly doing well at the home race in Monza. If you're driving for one of the new teams, such as Lotus, a brand that lots of people will recognise, they're not expecting you to go out and win races straight away. They're expecting, at the very most, to try and pick up an occasional point, maybe get into the second round of qualifying. When you achieve those things with teams, they're ecstatic. You've got a set number of objectives to achieve. It's not always about winning races, it's about achieving the objectives for the team. Over time, you're able to turn a small minnow team into a championship challenger, so you're more inclined to stay with the team and build them up over time. If you do particularly well on the season, the following year they've invested more money in research and development into the car, it will be in a new position on the grid for the following season. So you're more inclined to stay with them and build them up. But should you want to start an easy career mode, jump to the teams that you recognise straight away,